Welcome to Micropipetting Lab. We will be doing the Edvotech Kit Micropipetting Basics, Activity 2, Option A. You will be given a instruction sheet, and you will have a chart like this to follow along. You will have one strip from a microtiter plate, and I have already labeled the wells 1 through 7 with a Sharpie. Okay, so this is how you read the chart. Wells 1 through 7, and this is what goes in them. So you will have a tube of red dye. You will not use it all. It's for both lab groups. A tube of blue dye, a tube of yellow dye labeled Yell, a tube of glycerol labeled GLY, a tube of alcohol labeled ALK, and a tube of buffer labeled Buff. So what goes in well 1 is 5 microliters of red dye and 40 microliters of buffer for a total volume of 45 microliters. Well 2, you will put 10 microliters of yellow dye, 10 microliters of glycerol, 10 microliters of alcohol, and 15 microliters of buffer for a total volume of 45. For the third well, 10 microliters of blue, 10 microliters of yellow, 25 microliters of buffer for a total volume of 45. And when we're finished, you will have 7 wells with 45 volumes of 45 microliters each. Then you will pipette 10 microliters 3 times. You'll pipette 10 microliters from well 1 onto your card, and in the end it will look like this. So it's like the very end stage of a cooking show. So you'll be pipetting 10 microliters of well 1 into circle 1, circle 2, and circle 3, trial 1, 2, and 3. And this just to see how accurately you have done your pipetting. All right, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it can get quite tedious, because we are using our adjustable volume micropipette today. All right, and I do suggest that you follow the chart and just pipette what it says. It's going to take a long time, but this is practicing you guys to adjust for the correct volume and pipette small volumes. All right, so the first thing we need to pipette is 5 microliters, and right now it says 10. So this would be 1, 0 for 10. That would be where the decimal point goes, where the line is, 0, 0. So this is 10. So I need to, and you'll probably, like, this is going up to 11, so we need to roll to the left until we get to 5 microliters. And this is a very small volume. We're going to need to use the, oh, there we go, 5, 0, 0. So there's a 0, a 5, a line where the decimal point would be, and 0, 0. You're going to need to use the yellow pipette tips. Oh, and this one does have a stop. So here's the stop, and then there would be to blow out. And we don't want to blow out everything in our pipette. So you're just going to depress the plunger to the first stop when we get ready to pipette. But first we got to put on our tip securely. I give it like a little twist and a tap tap. You'll develop your own, and then I hold it. My fingers go under the hook. My thumb goes on the pipette, and I just push to the first stop. Right? It's very tiny. All right, then I open my red dye, and I want to put my pipette tip under the surface of the liquid, and I'm going to release the plunger slowly. And then because it's such a small volume and I want to make sure that I get the full 5 microliters, I'm going to depress the plunger and then aspirate again. And look at how small a volume 5 microliters is. Now I'm going to go get my microtiter plate, my 5 microtiter strip, and I've labeled well 1. And to dispense the 5 microliters, you're going to put 5 microliters like in the corner to the edge. You want to press your tip against the edge and depress. Now look, it's a very small volume, that little. And look how much is left in our pipette tip. That is normal. Like, this is what happens if you depress the plunger all the way. It blows it out, right? So we don't want to do that. Now, to get the tip off, I've given everybody a trash bucket. So you're going to depress this blue button to eject the tip. So depress the blue button and the tip pops off. All right, now if we look all the way across our map, we've just pipetted 5 microliters. Now we need to pipette 40 microliters of buffer. So I'm going to roll this dial all the way up to 40 microliters. There we go, 40 microliters. Then I'm going to get a tip, twist, tap, tap, find my tube labeled buff, open it. I'm going to depress the plunger to the first stop, and you'll feel it. It'll go further this time. Put the tip under the surface, then slowly release the plunger. Then I'm going to dispense to make sure there's no bubbles and I have the accurate volume. Then remove. Then go back to my strip, and again, I'm going to put the tip on the edge, dispense, and I'm going to mix a couple of times. 1, 2, and then there's still going to be some left in the tip. That is expected, and that is fine. So I'm going to go eject my pipette tip. Let's see if I can pop the tip off, and now I'm ready to go on to well 2. And look at how small of a volume that is. It's only 45 microliters. And remember, we're going to be pipetting 30 microliters total out of this. All right, so let's go on to well 2. This time we need 10 microliters of yellow, 10 microliters of glycerol, 10 microliters of alcohol, and 15 microliters of buffer for a total volume of 45. So let's get busy. All right, we are going to scroll down till we get to the 10. All right, tip, twist, tap, tap. Again, depress the plunger to the first stop. Put the tip of the pipette tip under the surface of the liquid. Gently release the plunger. Make sure that there's the full 10 microliters. Go to well number 2. Put the tip in the edge and dispense the 5 microliters. And again, there's still some left in the tip, and there's just a little bit in the well. So I'm going to pop off the tube. Now I need 10 microliters of glycerol. Glycerol is thick, a thick liquid, very viscous. So another part of this exercise is getting you used to feeling how different liquids pipette depending on their viscosity. So again, it's 10 microliters, so I can just leave it like it is. I'm going to depress the plunger, put the pipette tip under the surface of the liquid, gently release the plunger, depress, aspirate again. Find my well 2. Again, put the tip on the edge and just dispense. Okay, then fresh tip. This time we're going to be pipetting 10 microliters of alcohol. So we get the tube labeled ALK. Depress the plunger to the first stop. The tip under the surface of the liquid. Aspirate slowly. Oh, look, there was a bubble. That's why we do this. All right, again, 10 microliters into well 2. Pop the tip off, and now we need to adjust for 15 microliters of the buffer. (15 microliters). Another tip, twist, tap, tap. I'm going to find my buffer. Depress my plunger to the first stop. Put the tip under the surface of the liquid. Aspirate, dispense, aspirate. And this time I'm going to mix. So pipette tip on the edge, then I'm going to mix 3 times, or 4 or 5. Okay. And then pop the tip off. Now, I'm not going to do all the rest of the wells. I'm going to let y'all do those parts. But I do want to show you what it's going to look like when you pipette 10 microliters. So you're going to adjust your pipette to 10 microliters. All right, then you're going to depress the plunger, place it under the surface of your liquid in well 1 for number 1, aspirate, dispense, aspirate. Then on this card, inside your circles, I don't want to waste cards, so you would dispense 10 microliters in the first circle. Then you're going to go back using the same tip, and I'm just going to keep my pipette tip dispensed so I won't get so many bubbles. Again, tip under the surface of the liquid in the corner. Like I put my tip all the way in the corner at an angle. Like it's kind of hard to do, but like this, okay? And aspirate 10 microliters. Then we're going to dispense 10 microliters in the next circle. Then you're going to go back and get 10 more microliters. And look, there's still some left because there was a total volume of 45 and we're only pipetting 30. So 10 more microliters. And then when you're finished, you will end up with a card that looks like this bottom that I showed you at the beginning. All right, so it's a lot of fun. Eject your pipette tip. And I hope you have fun.